Hey there, my name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Welcome to my Flying Wheels YouTube channel. I own a small car dealership in New Hampshire, and we do a ton of Jeep Wranglers, which is the purpose of this video today. I love Jeep Wranglers. I sell them all year long. It's fall now. You can see the leaves blowing behind me. Well, in the past week and a half, I've purchased two Jeep Wranglers. Both were in extremely rough shape. I'm going to show you the transformation, everything we do to them. I'm not going to hide a thing, and hopefully we're going to make a profit at the end of this video. Now, before we even get started, I want to preface something. I want to buy these things, fix them, clean them, and sell them both in under a week. So let's see if we can do it. So I know absolutely nothing about these Jeep Wranglers. When they go through the auction, I have about 30 seconds to glance over them. I check the tires, I look for check engine lights. Really, it's fast. So I've gotten really good at looking at cars really quickly. But there's limited space that I can actually drive them, feel them shift from first to second. A lot gets hidden at the auction though. I can buy a lot of great cars. There's a lot of junk too, so just like Forrest Gump's mama says, you never know what you're gonna get them. I might get an absolute score. I might get an absolute lemon. I really don't know. So here's the deal. I don't know anything about either of these Jeep Wranglers. I'm buying them pretty much blindly. And this Wrangler I bought from another used car dealer. Now the question is, why is a used car dealer selling a car at auction and not just selling it retail? Probably because there's something wrong with it. And I really don't know, but I'm assuming there is. So now we have to figure out what the issues are going to be. Every time I see a Jeep Wrangler, I can't help but put my arm up and bid on it. And this one, I probably should have stayed away from, but hindsight's 20/20, and now we own it. So obviously you can see it's in rough shape. So here's my 2011 two-door soft top. The good thing about the 2011 is you have the newer interior, which I'll show you in just a second. But as you can see, these wheels are absolutely horrendous. They've ruined the Jeep. And then it being a sport, you have the soft top with the clear windows. We're gonna tint those vinyl windows to upgrade this thing a little bit. So we're gonna put Sahara wheels and tint the windows to give this thing a little bit of a change. And then you can see the fenders are all sun faded. We're going to do something to bring those back. I'm not sure what just yet. You can see in 2011, again, you get the newer seats, the newer dash, the newer instrument cluster. This has 142,000 miles, 6-speed, manual transmission. Here's what it looks like now. So I have two Wranglers. One is the 4-door Rubicon. That's an 07 with 144,000 miles. The other is the 11 Sport 2-door, 6-speed base model, but it has Uconnect, which is the Bluetooth. It has cruise control, which people are gonna like. Who cares about the manual locks, because you can just reach over and unlock the doors, no big deal. I wanted to stand on the workbench just so you can get a good glimpse, an aerial view of what this thing actually looks like. Well, it's an 07 Rubicon, and the Rubicon is the reason I was so attracted to this Wrangler. A Rubicon Unlimited, that is. So obviously we get power windows, power locks, automatic transmission. You're supposed to get bigger wheels, a heavier duty suspension, front locking differential, Dana front and rear axles. A Rubicon is where it's at when you're buying a Wrangler. Now obviously we have discolored hood, the clear coat's peeling off. We have the typical mirror, whacked the hood, dent. We have the faded fenders. We have the door hinges that are discolored and starting to chip off and flake. The paint itself is just generally faded out pretty badly. So if you've been following this channel at all, you know we do a ton of Jeep Wranglers, do a lot of Jeep Wrangler stuff. German is incredible when it comes to bringing these things back to life. Last week we were at the auction. He and I picked this thing up, and we probably shouldn't have, but what's done is done. So to put German on the spot here, we get these a lot. You're pretty proficient in them. You know what we're doing now. Walk me through your first steps to finishing steps.
So I'm going to just summarize the paint first. I'm going to bring it back to as fine as finish as possible. Paint and the top. Then I'm going to tape everything off so where I could truck bed all my bumpers and all my fenders.
Everybody picks on me for truck bed. We use this stuff on everything, and it makes it look incredible. Now these fenders, you can use a heat gun or a torch. If you've seen my videos before, you can kind of bring it back to life, but it does make them more brittle because it takes the oils out of the plastic. So we tape them off, and we use like a spray-on truck bed coating, a textured coating. It has a satin finish, and they look incredible when we're finished. I noticed you started buffing this right away. Was it to just get an idea of what it's going to look like, or why did you do that?
Yeah, just want to see what I'm working with underneath there.
This over here is what it looks like, this dull finish. You can see the scratches and the swirls when we get up close to it. German has not that much time into this door, and now we have like a mirror finish or close to it already, just off the polishing compound. After a buff, are you gonna buff the whole car?
Yes, I'm gonna buff everything but the hood.
Why do you do it before you paint the fenders?
So anything that sticks to it, it's gonna be like,
Oh yeah, right.
you know.
Okay.
If I let it get in on that, then I have to try to buff it off. With this now, it's just easier to come off because the finish.
So I've said it before, we do a ton of Jeep Wranglers because I absolutely love everything about them. I love that they're 4-doors, I love that they can fit my family, I love that I can put my dog in the back, I love that I can plow, I can tow, I can have a summer car, I can have a winter car, I can take it on vacation. I can do everything with it. I can put my boat behind it and bring it to the lake. Everything about Jeep Wranglers are versatile, and that's why people love them. And for that reason, they hold their value incredibly well, like Toyota Tacoma value well. It's insane. So I have to pay premiums to get them, but I get the money on the back end when I go to sell them. Now, I've always told you guys, you make your money on the purchase. You don't make your money at the back end of the sale. I already know what I'm gonna sell it for when I'm finished. I have to purchase it right so I can make my profit. If I know what I'm gonna sell it for, I know what I wanna make, which means I know what I can pay for it. Now with Jeep Wrangler flips, I've made upwards of $4,000 sometimes. It's not uncommon, but I'm already paying what I think is way too much money to buy a Jeep Wrangler, so I have to buy them in rough condition in order to fix them up, clean them, and then just resell them. Now I overpaid on this thing. I even test drove it, so I knew what I was getting into for the most part, but I still overpaid for it. An 07 Rubicon, now if you've watched any of my videos, you know that Jeep Wranglers are just crazy, crazy money. Even rusty, old, beat up ones like this one are crazy money. I paid somewhere around $7,800 for this 4-door unlimited Rubicon with 130,000 miles, which generally speaking is a pretty good deal, unless it's in the condition that this one's in. The other issue is this thing is lit up like a Christmas tree, so we have to figure out why all these lights are on and try to get them off. You can also see we have a rip right here at the seam. So we are going to repaint this hood, and the good thing is this isn't down to metal, so we are going to sand down with the DA sander, dual action sander, anywhere the clear has worn down, and the rest we're just going to scuff. We do not need an adhesion promoter like a primer because it's already on the metal, so the paint is already bonded to the metal. We can paint over the paint as long as we prep it appropriately. Now we have an inspection checklist that we go over every vehicle with, so you can see we check everything thoroughly. Down to the registration, lighting, instruments, glass. We check the body and chassis, steering, tires, wheels, brakes, brakes front, brakes rear, front suspension, rear suspension, the fuel system, the exhaust, and emissions. And then here's all the laws and rules that we have to follow according to our state. We have a rigorous state inspection. Rigorous. If you've seen the state police show up at my shop video, you know they're strict about state inspections. And another problem in New Hampshire is rust. So you can see that the rust has been painted over, so a lot of people try to hide and mask the rust, and this is just like a rubberized undercoat or somebody sprayed on everything.
2 hours later.
So the inspection is done, and I have to say, I have never had to fill out front, back, and a third page of things that a vehicle needs. So this might be the worst vehicle I've ever purchased. We're in trouble on this one. This is what happens if you don't do the appropriate prep work before painting a car. The paint just peels off like that. That's the clear coat. And then the hood's getting repainted today too. An update on the hood. So Rubicons are pretty elaborate. If you look in here, let me see if I can turn my flashlight on. That is I don't even know how you call it, dual action sway bar, a 2-piece sway bar. So when you hit the switch, it gives it more flex, I guess, is what I'm being told. But you can see it's obviously gone underwater because it's filled with moisture and mud. And then here is the control unit. That's all burned up. So now that we know that it has been driven through water, we're gonna drop the pan too and just flush the transmission and service that as well. So when we were talking about the truck bed coating, German taped this off. We cut the rusty steps off because they were just ugly. Just torched them off all the way down. And then German taped it off and truck bedded it all the way down. And you can see, oh, besides those runs, German, everyone's going to call you out on that. This is how good the truck bed coating looks as like a rocker chip guard. Here are the fenders after being coated as well. Looking pretty darn good, I think. Everything's nice and a fresh satin black now. Rear bumper was pulled out a little bit better too, so you remember this was impacted completely. Drilled a hole up here and heated it up and pushed it out best we could right there. German, right here, you grinded it down and then black appliance epoxy?
Yes.
Is what you used on the hinges. Take this grill off too right here and hit that. You can paint texture coated front grille, perfect satin shine, as well as license plate bracket as well. The only question is, what do we do with these wheels? Do we paint them silver, gunmetal, or just black again? Black wheels. Black is nice, and they look good after they're painted. You can see the fifth wheel. That looks good, but it ties into the black and it hides the wheels. I kind of feel like this gunmetal color looks a little better. Doesn't it pop a little more? And here's the hood after a paint. It hasn't been wet sanded and buffed yet, obviously. And we are midway through that rust repair right here. So new metal underneath. We grinded down the metal, put new metal over it, and then body filler. So I went on Facebook and I found a set of Jeep Wrangler wheels takeoffs off of 16 Wrangler Sahara, 18-inch wheels. $250 for 5 wheels. So turned out they were 19 minutes from me, so I drove down the road, went and grabbed them. That is a huge $250 upgrade for my Jeep. And you'll see people always change the wheels out on their Wranglers. So they'll pay a ton of money for an aftermarket set of wheels. Meanwhile, here's a set of 18-inch Wrangler Sahara wheels and great tires that I can buy for $250 and slap on a base model Wrangler and make it look extraordinary just off a set of wheels. So I couldn't decide on which wheels, so I'm at house number 2 picking up set of wheels number 2. And here we go, set number 2. But they're pretty bald and bald. Good bald. So we got these ones, and we got the other 18-inch Sahara wheels, all for the total price of $440. I didn't meet either person. Both people left the wheels outside. We had pre-negotiated prices. I left the cash, one person in their grill, and the other person on the seat of their Jeep, and just let them know where it was, took a picture of it, sent it to them. And lastly, crazy enough, both sets of wheels were within 20 minutes. So these just showed up in the mail. Should look pretty good right there, I think. Let's try this now. Jeez, that was awful. I absolutely despise when people put locking gas caps on their vehicles because they lose the key and the gas cap just turns. So what we have to do is break into the lock, pry it off, and it comes off. Then we have to get in here and try to turn the actual cap and get that out. This Rubicon's making me crazy nervous. I am so invested into this thing now, and I'm not gonna get my money back, I don't think. And here is just about our finished product. We're almost done with this thing. I think I put the Wrangler Unlimited a little too high. That probably should have been lower. Wheels, I went with gunmetal. We put the updated 18 plus Rubicon decal on the hood. I just thought that was kind of a cool touch. We got this, a new satin black, so this came off. We pulled the bumpers, we buffed everything, and the paint came out great. We painted the hood, wet sanded and buffed the hood. We painted, now we have to repaint because we got wax on it because German waxed the car after painting the fenders, which didn't make any sense. But we painted the fenders, satin black. So those look new again. We pulled the dent out here best we could. That's about as good as we're gonna get it. Where the rust spot was, we put in some new metal, body filler, and then painted it. Inside, we dyed the carpets. So you can see that's about as good as we're gonna get it. Dyed the carpets there, cleaned everything up. That thing looks pretty darn good from where I'm standing compared to what it looked like when I got it in. So even though the 4-door Rubicon looks incredible, I'm having like nightmares with this thing. I can't get all the lights off. The 4x4 is not working. I'm having a ton of problems with this thing. So I have to keep going. Now the 2-door was way rougher looking than the 4-door, and it's turning out to be awesome. So the 2-door is finished as well, and it came out really nice actually. I'm really, really pleased with it. And best thing I found about it yet, let me show you this. I was going in the glove box. I went through the paperwork because you always want to do this. And looky here what I found. It originally came from, Charlotte, North Carolina. Just to verify that, there is the North Carolina Safety Inspection Report. Now I live in the Northeast and Jeeps get really, really rusty. So when I find anything from down south, it's a blessing. It makes it worth that much more here, which means I'm gonna get that much more selling it. I didn't buy it knowing it's a North Carolina car, but I am absolutely going to sell it as a North Carolina car. And I'll show you one other thing. You can't really see it, but that is a Mopar oil sticker, which means the previous owner was servicing this thing, even for little things like oil changes, at the dealer. So that's just a nice selling feature too. Two great things that's gonna help me sell this 2-door. Now you can see how amazing the paint came out. And when I purchased those Wrangler Unlimited stickers for the Rubicon, it came with 2 extras, so I slapped those on there as well. It was missing on this side and it was a Sport on the other side, so I figured the red kind of made it pop. But really, look at how much different those 18-inch Sahara wheels changed this Jeep. And once again, I think I paid $240 for the wheels and tires, so that is, I mean, it made the Jeep look like a completely different Jeep. It went from a base model Wrangler X to this incredible looking Jeep that you see here. Now you can see we tinted the rear vinyl windows, but it was so dark that I had to leave the back one stock. I couldn't tint it because you just can't see through it. Look at, you just can't see in it. It's too dark. So I had to have, for inspection purposes, the back windows untinted. So this one, we didn't just slap some stickers and change the wheels on it. We did a reverse switch because the reverse lights weren't working. We did a coil pack. We did plugs. We detailed it. We painted the fenders. It was in, you saw I was in rough shape, and now it's not. I love Jeeps. They're just versatile. They're a lot of fun. They're just really, really expensive, unfortunately. So I did 2 Jeeps in 1 week. Unfortunately, the Rubicon, not something I want to sell to people. It had like really weird, quirky things, and I just don't want to come back on me, so it's easier to just run it back through and let somebody else with maybe less of a conscience sell it, or have them take care of it maybe. Who the heck knows? But it's just not something that I want to take on. That right there is what I want to sell. So this one I think I'm going to sell quicker than the 4-door, but who knows? So anyway, this week was all about fixing those things up, getting them ready for sale. Now I'm going to try to sell them both this week within 7 days. So if you guys follow along, make sure to subscribe down below. I'll tell you what I paid, what I have into them, all the headaches that I've been having. That all wasn't even part of this video. That'll be the next video coming out, is if I was able to sell these things, how much money I made on them, and if I took a loss, or if they were a big giant score. Here's a 2017, and I love the color matched roof. What a difference it makes. It's getting late in the season, so I don't know what I'm gonna get for that Jeep. The thing that I have going for me is, look at my number, Charlie 28, C28. I'm the 28th car to run through today, which is an amazing number. Goodbye, Jeep.